So howdy everyone. Continuing on with the month of anime. Oh gosh, that's such a bad name. And today we have a game based off of an anime rather than an anime style game. Today's game is One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, released for the PS3, PC, PS4, Vita, and Switch. I'll be playing the PC version. So I don't think I really need to explain what One Piece is, like the longest running anime ever it seems. It's been around for just a really long time, still going strong today. I've personally never seen an episode of the show, don't really plan on it either. My knowledge of One Piece comes strictly from the Pirate Warriors games. I remember back a number of years ago, I did play the original One Piece Pirate Warriors and somehow still have footage from that, as you can see. I just remembered getting a bit more than like halfway through the game and not liking it very much at all, actually. I thought it was a bit clunky, even for a Dynasty Warriors spin-off. There was awful platforming and just maneuvering around, and I just wasn't having a very good time with it. The second One Piece Pirate Warriors game, it was never physically released in America, it seems, and they're charging just way too much for the game on PSN. They're charging like an arm and a leg for what the game's worth, so I'm not bothering. And as I'm recording this video, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 just came out, but that's not what we're looking at today. We're looking at One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, which I got a number of years ago. Better late than never, I guess. And I really didn't honestly expect them to make another Pirate Warriors, but here we are. The game follows the plot of the anime. Pirate Warriors 1 and 2 did as well, so this game adds more parts of the anime, I think. When it comes to the story or even setting of One Piece, I'm not going to try to explain it here. I'm just going to say it follows the anime. It follows Luffy and his pirate crew as they go across the sea looking for treasure and getting into trouble. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, since, you know, there's got to be if it's the longest running anime ever. But I guess that's a basic enough explanation. If you couldn't guess, this game really skims over a lot of details from One Piece. After talking to numerous friends about the game and comparing it, this game seems to skip over a lot of stuff to just try to hit all the major points of, like, the anime, which makes sense, but I can very easily see someone who doesn't know anything about One Piece playing the game and just being completely lost, like I was. Introducing characters just as fast as they're getting rid of them, other ones jumping all over the place, and really just not going into much detail on anything. But that's really a sacrifice that has to be made if it's going to follow basically the longest anime ever. So I'm really not going to comment on the story, let's just look at the gameplay. So if it wasn't clear enough, the game is a Dynasty Warriors spin-off. I've already talked about Dynasty Warriors a few times on this channel, but just to reiterate, I do like Dynasty Warriors. I think Dynasty Warriors is quite fun and pretty cathartic. Sometimes I just need that game I can completely just turn my brain off on, and Dynasty Warriors perfectly fills that void. It's not for everyone, it really isn't. It has a certain audience and a very loyal fan base. But again, not for everyone. If you don't know somehow how these games play, I'll give you the 1-minute rundown. Basically, you choose a character, get dropped into a relatively large map, go around beating the crap out of everything, defeating tons upon tons of enemies until you finally fight a bigger enemy that poses a real threat. Usually most combos come down to pressing X a few times on the controller and then adding a Y or vice versa. Occasionally mixing it up, but a little past that, no. Yeah, usually it's a button masher. Objectives usually come down to capturing territory, which involves you defeating enough enemies in said territory or fighting a much stronger enemy that can actually hurt you. Sometimes you have to go help a teammate or escort someone somewhere, but throughout it all you're just beating the crap out of tons and tons of enemies. Rinse and repeat until the battle is won and move on to the next one. So that's the main Dynasty Warriors formula, actually, like in general. Pirate Warriors 3 follows that to a T, does not mix it up with any unnecessary crap like that original Pirate Warriors. There's no awkward platforming, strange traversal mechanics. No, you're just running around beating the crap out of every enemy. Now, is this game just Dynasty Warriors with a One Piece skin on it? To an extent, yes, but there are a few things that the game does to try to be unique to it that Dynasty Warriors doesn't have. Obviously, the combos are all pretty similar to the stuff in Dynasty Warriors, but that's just kind of the nature of the genre, where you have your light, heavy attacks and you mix them up. You have a super move, which you can use when the bar fills up, of course, but there are a few special attacks, like a longer range attack I forgot existed, and a team-up move. See, throughout the game you have partner or partners with you. When you finish a combo, if you attack again, they do a special attack, which is helpful. But when you fill up the partner meter all the way, you can summon them, where you just do tons more damage and have extra combos and can just totally wreck everything with a super. These add a little extra wrinkles, but aren't game changers by any means. The gameplay is still really what you've come to expect from Dynasty Warriors. Go capture this area, escort someone here, stupid AI getting beat up, and you gotta go rescue them, the usual. All the maps presented in the game are fine, none of them were ever too big, but nothing really stood out either. Luckily, to mix up the gameplay, there are a lot of characters. Throughout the main story, you get to play as probably 20 or so characters, but there's over 30 in the game. Everyone does have a pretty unique moveset, and while the inputs are similar, everyone feels different enough that it really prevents you from getting totally bored as long as you are switching characters. Speaking of the main story, there are a couple modes of gameplay here. There is the main story, which sees you go through the anime in its various chapters. There's also Dream Log, which is where you get to choose any One Piece character and basically go through these dream scenarios. This ultimately just means more and more battles, but you get to see scenarios that would never happen in the real show. As someone who knows very little about One Piece, this mode did not really appeal to me at all, but I could see someone else enjoying it. There is also tons of collectibles present in the game that you get from various side objectives that are presented during battles. Defeating tougher enemies gives you these coins, and you can use these coins to level up your characters, making their base stats go up, making you kill droves of enemies faster. And that's really it for the gameplay. It's simple for sure, but it's also fun. So let's take a small break from the gameplay and talk about the presentation. The presentation in this game is just very questionable. Yes, it does have a decent art style, and it is correct to the show, but the actual graphics themselves, yeah, I'm not really so sure. First off, I will say the frame rate was very good, a very smooth 60 FPS, which is really nice. I really appreciate the constant frame rate, and it's clear the graphics were sacrificed to an extent to make sure this frame rate was really smooth and just good, and luckily it is that. But the graphics were still sacrificed, so let's just get into it. The character models, they look decent, they don't look great, but they look alright for when the game came out. They could definitely look worse. They don't really look any better, honestly, than the first Pirate Warriors, but I mean, I guess they ever so slightly do. The animation is actually pretty decent for these characters. I will say it's not too stiff, and it doesn't really look that clunky. It's, again, okay. But the textures in the game are just bad. There's no two ways about it. They're really blurry, muddy, just lacking any detail at all. It's easily the worst part of the graphics. And when you look at this game, you look at the textures and you go, yeah, this isn't very good. It didn't even look very good on the PS3. But the textures in this game are just ugly. There's really no two ways about it. It's ugly. It's like the character models, alright, frame rate good, textures really drag the overall presentation down. I guess for the Vita it didn't look that bad, but I doubt this runs well on the Vita. Now to talk about the sound. The first thing to mention, there's no English dub. Now, I did not expect one here, but it's still annoying. Characters are trying to tell stories in the game. Like during gameplay, in-game dialogue, you're beating the crap out of everything, and it's like, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing just to read what they're saying. The voice acting, I really just have no idea on how to comment on. I didn't cringe from it, so it's probably good. The sound effects were certainly there. Nothing sounded out of the ordinary, but nothing really sounded that amazing either. In fact, I'm pretty sure they've been using the same sound effects in all 3 Pirate Warriors games. Music is actually pretty nice in this game. I'm sure it's just actual One Piece music, but again, it was nice. Some of the tunes are really rocking, and some of them are a bit slower, but again, all nice. Usually Omega Force has pretty good music in their games. And the quality of everything, pretty nice. But let's talk about stuff that was not nice. Stuff that was not fine. Stuff that really I was not happy about. Yeah, let's just get into it. I'm not going to harp on the game skipping points of the anime because this is the 3rd Pirate Warriors game. They probably have covered everything or almost everything at some point between these 3 games, and the mediocre graphics don't really hamper my fun with the game. No, I have some other issues. I will start from the smallest issues and go up from there. Some of the characters can feel a bit awkward. Not all of them, but there are a couple characters that just feel incredibly stiff when compared to others like Sanji, and it just feels off. Everyone should feel relatively smooth, but I guess not. The most standard of Warriors games complaints show up here where you just need to help a really stupid teammate. They'll have to be rescued multiple times in battle. They will go off on their own, get their ass beat, you gotta go rescue them, or they're defending the home area at some point and get their ass beat and you need to go help them. To help them, you have to run all the way back to them, get close to them to save them, and then beat up the enemies. It's going to happen eventually. It just always happens in these games, and it happens a bit here. If you don't like Warriors games at all, or find this a bit boring, it's not going to change your mind at all. It's as mindless as every other Warriors game. It does nothing you haven't seen before. That doesn't bother me too much, but I know some people hate that. Co-op is limited to local, which sucks, but something that genuinely annoyed me, was anytime you had to escort a character in this game. It is super annoying. You basically have to babysit them and just watch them move to the location that they're supposed to. You cannot really leave them on their own to go where they're supposed to because that just won't happen. They will try to fight every single trash enemy in the area, and if you don't clear out everything, they will never make it to the location that they're supposed to go to. And when they give you a time limit to escort somebody, it's like, oh boy. Try to get rid of every single enemy that is on the path, because the person you're escorting will try to fight it. Like, you have to stay near them pretty much the entire time, otherwise they will just not do what they're supposed to. And there were quite a few times where I thought the game had bugged out because it wasn't properly progressing through the level, only to find out that it's because I was supposed to escort someone and that escort didn't properly make it to the area. Got really annoying. But what got under my skin more than anything else, and easily my biggest issue with the game, that brought it down quite a bit, was the PC port. All in all, I can say if you have any fleeting interest in this game, do not play it on the computer at all. It's just terrible. I can overlook some of the annoying aspects of this game. I can overlook that it's really the same kind of Warriors gameplay that I've come to know and quite like. I can overlook that I barely understand what's going on because the game can't accurately explain the anime to someone who hasn't seen the anime, but what I cannot overlook is this atrocious PC port. I have not seen a PC port this bad in quite some time. It is just ridiculously, laughably bad. I make jokes about it on the Discord to my friends during quarantine. It's so bad. I'm not even sure where to begin. So the game does not have any resolution support past standard 1920 by 1080. I expected that much. Expecting anything more would be just too much extra, I guess. So no, we don't get that. Basically no graphics options at all. I'm pretty certain the PC version uses the PS3 version of the game instead of the PS4 version. Why? The controls are just a bitch to map to an Xbox One controller. I had to completely remap everything when I started the game because the controls on default made no sense. You couldn't even move the camera around. I was never able to get the right bumper, or RB as it's known on the controller, to work with the game. And I know it's not my controller, I'm still using the right bumper just fine as recent as yesterday. It never showed me proper control prompts either. Like, it just never expected anyone obviously to ever play this game with an Xbox controller, period. It's just beyond lazy. And I'm not gonna play a game like this on the mouse and keyboard. That sounds terrible. The game doesn't even have mouse support either. A majority of the cutscenes in this game just did not work. Like, legitimately did not work. It was a black screen and nothing else. And if I stayed on the black screen for more than like 10 seconds, the game would just crash. So I would just look up all the cutscenes on YouTube and just play those after every mission because these cutscenes just did not work. I was able to view a good portion of them, but not all of them. But this shouldn't be a problem to begin with. I should be able to see every cutscene, no problem. It's a serious issue. And then the crashes. This game crashed on me so many times it got infuriating. I had one level crash on me 3 separate times. And this was one of the longest levels in the game. Like a level that's easily 35 plus minutes long. So I had to redo it 3 times. And it wasn't just that the level, it wasn't just that level that crashed on me. No, other levels also crashed on me and I had to replay those as well. In fact, on the final level, it crashed in the same area multiple times with different characters, different combinations. It didn't matter. The game crashed over and over and over in the same area and I just gave up. I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm sick of this crap. And I didn't actually finish the final level of the game because it crashed too many times. And there wasn't even a real clean fix for the game either. It just crashed over and over. Alt-tabbing out made the game crash. Sometimes just even like recording with OBS would crash the game instantly. Like, I think that's just a sign that the game runs like crap. The PC port really hampered my entire experience with the game, and I am certain that if I played this on PlayStation or even the Vita, I'd have a better time with it. Omega Force and just Koei Tecmo in general have horrible PC ports. This is no exception. It is actually just terrible. But I could go on and on with this PC port, I really could. But I'm just going to stop there because I think I've made my point. Let's wrap things up. Overall, Pirate Warriors 3, it's a decent game. It's not a great game, but it's not a bad game. I'd say it's an average, middle-of-the-road kind of game. It's mindless fun for 10 to 15 hours with a bonus mode to mess around with if you want to as well. If you like One Piece, you've probably already played the game, but if not, I'm sure you'll get way more enjoyment out of this game than I did. And you'll play it on a console where it runs better. If you don't like One Piece, I really can't recommend the game very much, as I just think there are much better Warriors games out there with a much broader appeal. The gameplay is what you've come to expect from these kind of games and nothing else really. Not being a massive fan of the source material really hurts your overall enjoyment with the game. At least I got some mindless fun out of it, but besides that, there's really not all that much that this game has to offer. And now there's Pirate Warriors 4, which probably is better gameplay, so if you're going to check out any of the Pirate Warriors games, like any of them, just probably check out the latest. In conclusion, like I said, it's an average game with an average length and just average gameplay. So I'll see you next time, guys, on the next anime game we check out. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. I don't really, just do something, dude. If you made it to this part of the video, say something in the comments like bricks or I don't know. Either way, have a great Christmas.